Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 1st of January, now it's 9:30 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment, but I will start with the notification about my Telegram channel. I did spoke about this topic yesterday, but not everyone of course see yesterday's video, and I will repeat if I made that in attempt to protect our community on Telegram from scammers. I made decision to turn off comments under the video, so nobody is blocked, dear friends. Nobody is blocked. I just turned off comments on the Telegram. At this point, I did not find any other way to protect our community from scammers other than turn off comment section, because unfortunately, this is a big issue. Scammers are a big problem and they are faking accounts. I blocked several accounts that looks exactly similar as mine. Similar name, Levan Gudadze opinion. They use my picture and they were spreading some links. I don't even know what those links are. I did delete, of course, and block those fake accounts whenever I see, but unfortunately I cannot stay on online 24 hours. It's just humanly impossible. I already spent for this project 12 to 16 hours a day, every day. And I don't have a team, by the way, who will help me work on this project, and because it's just me and I cannot monitor comment sections everywhere constantly. This is only option that I have at this moment, to turn off comment section. And dear friends, I will try to put under every single post I will write on Telegram this disclaimer, to yet again in attempt to protect our community. So let me just read it to you. So disclaimer: the chat does not reflect the channel or administrator's views. When I will reopen comment sections, this topic will be important again. At this point there is no comments, so there is no chat. Also, the channel or administrator will never initiate direct message with you. If you receive DM from the channel, consider it a scam, and I strongly recommend banning and reporting it immediately. So if you ever receive any DM from an account that looks similar to mine, I strongly recommend ban that account straight away and report it, because it's a scam. I never ever write to nobody. If I receive question on my on anywhere on any of my platforms and I see it, I'm trying to reply, but I will never initiate communication or direct messaging. So if you ever receive DM, I strongly recommend ban it straight away and report it to administration of Telegram. And of course, reminder that our community thrives when we all contribute positively and respectfully. So I will try to put this disclaimer under every post on my Telegram channel, which is a useful addition, dear friends, in my understanding, to main channels on YouTube and Rumble, because during the day I can dozens of times write a post about additional news. And for example, this morning, after I said good day to everyone, I did already shared several posts. For example, in this video you can see Ukrainian unit in area of damaged railway bridge on the Dnieper River, and then Russian strike on against that unit, which was neutralized. Also, dear friends, in this video, for example, you can see destruction of Ukrainian boat on the Dnieper River. This video shows neutralization of Ukrainian platoon with direct artillery hit, as I understand, or maybe hit from ITGM. Also, I did share, and this is just this morning, by the way. During the day, of course, I will share a few dozens of more updates. Usually, I'm quite active on Telegram. Yesterday was exception because I did not feel well, and yesterday I was not active on Telegram, even in the comment sections on the YouTube. But today I feel okay, so I will be quite active. Well, I did share this information, for example, that the New York Times published article according to which Israel knew Hamas attack plan more than a year ago, which is, I guess, this information will once again bring to life those questions that we hear many times on the initial stages of this escalation between Israel and Palestine, because many people did find it difficult to believe that Israeli intelligence did not knew about Hamas plans to conduct this quite large-scale incursion into Israel. And well, I guess after this type of publications in the Western mainstream media, questions will also rise that maybe Netanyahu's government use this Hamas plan and Hamas attack to conduct then retaliatory strikes and conduct military operation in the Gaza Strip and force all the locals out of region into Israel, let's say. And dear friends, just recently Israeli media even written that Israeli intelligence services had a plan to force Gaza locals in the Gaza Strip into Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. So questions definitely will rise after this type of articles in the mainstream media. Also, I did share information about this trade between India and Russia that is intensifies, and Indian oil imports from Russia increase in November even further, according to reports. And yes, several other updates. In this video, you can see, dear friends, the destruction of yet another German Leopard 2A4 tank by Russian drone. This happened in Zaporozhye direction, not far away from Rabotina. At this point, one may wonder how many Leopard 2s Kiev regime, operational Leopard 2s Kiev regime has left. Not many, I guess, and that's why Kiev regime began actively using Leopard 1A5 tanks on the front lines. And during the previous days, I did share at least 2 videos, if I'm not mistaken, with the destruction of Leopard 1A5 German tanks that was delivered to Kiev regime. Also, I did share this summary highlights of Russian special military operation in Ukraine for November 30 from Rebirth, by the way, biggest military channel on Telegram. It's in English, so you may find these updates useful. And yes, many more news. Israel recalls ambassador from Spain, and I will talk about it in the update also. So that's been said, and dear friends, maybe you noticed that at this point on the Telegram channel, our community did reach 2,995, 5 new members, and we will reach 3,000. So if you are not subscribed to my Telegram channel, please consider to do so. I believe Telegram channel is quite useful addition really to main channels on YouTube and Rumble. Okay, that's been said. Let's continue now with a short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. According to reports from Russian media and Russian language channels on different platforms, there was no significant changes on majority of the sectors of the front line, although there was some activities on several directions. And first of all, I'm talking about Donetsk sector, where Russian forces on the northern flank of Donetsk sector in Bakhmut area, Russian forces, according to Russian military channels, did manage to improve their positions in Berkhovka water reservoir area, and forward units of Russian military personnel even entered Bogdanovka settlement, which is in between Chesov Yar and Bakhmut itself. I did not see any video or photo confirmation that Russian forces are in Bogdanovka at this point, but so many channels did report about it that I guess at least reckon units of Russian military personnel did enter Bogdanovka. Khramovo is already under Russian control. I did report about it yesterday. And also, dear friends, there are severe clashes between Russian and Ukrainian forces in Klishchevka area. Both sides are trying to establish control over the heights in Klishchevka area, especially on the northern part of Klishchevka. And yet again, I'm quite sure it's only a matter of time, and Russian forces will achieve success in this direction also. And this is it, dear friends. Of course, hotspot is Avdiivka also on the southern flank of Donetsk sector, but yet again, initiative is in Russian side. Local scale operations have been conducted. According to some reports, Russian forces yesterday did manage to establish control over the Stepovoi, or at least force Ukrainian units out of Stepovoi, and according to some reports, even Berdichi, now partially controlled by Russian military units. This is northern flank of Avdiivka, but yet again, without photo or video confirmation, it's difficult to say are Stepovoi and Berdichi under Russian control or not. Stepovoi maybe, but Berdichi possibly it's partially controlled by Ukrainian forces, partially Russian, or maybe entirely controlled by Ukrainian forces. And in next several days we will see Russian assault on this direction, but initiative definitely is in Russian hands. This is undoubtedly a fact, objective reality, and my understanding is that it will take another, I guess, 2-3 weeks when Russian side will begin conducting final push in direction of Avdiivka. And I say 2-3 weeks because I guess it's quite logical to wait for some time to make sure that severe lack of reinforcement, munition, any supplies whatsoever will begin play its role and downgrade battle capabilities of Ukrainian forces. And dear friends, simultaneously, Russian side, together with winter conditions, of course, this is also a factor. And same time, I will highlight once again that Russian side did become significantly active when it comes to informational campaign on the front line, and Russian units are more intensively trying to persuade Ukrainian military personnel, Ukrainian soldiers and officers to stop fighting for Zelensky and his criminal associates, lay down arms and surrender to Russian side and save their lives. That will be best decision for them, best decision for their families and for Ukrainian society, that they can save their lives. They don't have to die for Zelensky and his criminal associates or geopolitical interests of their Western masters. When it comes to, I can go sector by sector. In Kherson direction, no significant changes, dear friends. Russian side is pounding these small footholds on the left bank with the airstrikes, artillery strikes, drone strikes. Situation for Ukrainian units really are miserable. and that's why I guess this significant increase. We did see a significant increase in instances when Ukrainian forces lay down arms and surrendering. Reber did reported that Ukrainian forces still are trying to establish some positions in the forested area on the southern side of Krinky, central areas of the Krinky, by the way, and they are trying to do this because main road from Aleshki to Nova Kakhovka is right next to this forested area, but Russian side is monitoring situation and are not allowing Ukrainian side to achieve any success in this regard. And you know my take on this entire story of Ukrainian offensive in Kherson region. This was a failure on part of Kiev regime initially. They entered Russian trap and are continuing. Basically, Kiev regime just continues to send more and more units, Ukrainian units, into this trap, and Russian side basically don't really have to do much in this case. They can neutralize Ukrainian units with airstrikes, drone strikes, artillery strikes, one by one, and that's what Russian side does. I did share, for example, this morning videos on a Telegram with the destruction of yet another groups of Ukrainian forces in this area. And yesterday or day before, I did share, dear friends, photos from Krinky, from this central area of the Krinky, and well, you will hardly find any building in those photos that are not destroyed. It's like moon landschaft in this area at this point. But overall situation is of course under Russian control, and nothing is happening in this sector that can influence overall situation in immediate future. When it comes to Zaporozhye and South Donetsk sectors of the front line, also artillery duels between the sides mainly, and local scale skirmishes. Ukrainian side did try to conduct yet another local scale offensive operation, suicidal basically operation in Rabotnya and Verbovo areas. Russian side was ready for it and neutralized Ukrainian assault groups, and possibly this Leopard 2, this Ukrainian Leopard 2 A4 tank was destroyed exactly during that failed local scale counteroffensive. Overall situation is under full Russian control on Zaporozhye sector of the front line, and as I said many times before, only question remains when Russian side will make decision to encircle entire Ukrainian grouping of forces in Orekhov bridgehead and force them to lay down arms and surrender. Initiative is in Russian hands in South Donetsk direction also. Some local scale skirmishes and artillery duels, nothing in the scale that can influence overall situation on the sector of the front line. And of course northern sectors of the front also no significant changes, artillery duels, drone wars, reckoning force operations, and the main hotspot at this point in northern sectors is still Sinkovka. According to latest reports, Russian forces conducted yet another local scale offensive in the direction of Sinkovka and managed to re-establish control over the northern eastern part of Sinkovka, although without photo and video confirmations it's hard to tell what is really going on. I will say Sinkovka is disputed between the sides. And this is it when it comes to short summary of the situation on the Ukrainian battlefield. The operational pause mainly holding all along the line of contact, and I guess it will stay this way until late January, early February, when Russian side, in my understanding, will begin decisive large-scale operations. Will begin to conduct decisive large-scale offensive operations. And before I continue with some additional news, let me thank you, dear friends, for your time and attention. And of course, special thank to members of our community that support my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. Without your attention and support, this project will definitely not exist. So thank you very much. Let's continue with additional news now. And RIA Novosti is reporting that this morning, about 8 o'clock Moscow time, Russian military airplanes of Black Sea Fleet destroyed Ukrainian maritime drone in the Black Sea. So yet another attempt from Kiev regime to strike Russian side with these maritime drones. All these operations, by the way, with maritime drones and aerial drones in the Black Sea or in direction of Crimea, all these operations, according to many reports, are conducted by Kiev regime with the close cooperation with the UK's militaries and intelligence services. So Russian side knows this, and I guess one day there will be some repercussions for UK and its military somewhere in this world. But I don't think Russian side will ever forget about it or forgive that UK's militaries are actively involved in hostilities against Russia. Let's continue. RT is reporting that Zelensky basically admits, and UK citizens, by the way, to continue on previous topic, UK citizens should beware about it. And they should not be surprised that at some point, because of the criminal actions of the government and the military leadership, at some point, UK's militaries will end up in deep trouble somewhere in this world, and this will happen exactly because United Kingdom's actions against Russia. Revenge will definitely take place, undoubtedly. And I don't think anybody can blame Russia for this. Russia has every right for revenge. And of course, Russian side will exercise this right sometime in the future. Let's continue. And if UK citizens want to, make sure that their militaries are safe and secure, they should act. They should demand from their government, from their political and military leadership, to stop supporting Kiev regime and stop being directly involved against military hostilities, in military hostilities against Russia. Otherwise, revenge will be inevitable, one way or another. Anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that Zelensky admits Ukraine may never join NATO. Quite a revelation from Zelensky, isn't it? But I guess sometimes even this type of individuals are forced to recognize reality. Let's read several sentences here. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky acknowledged during the meeting with the university students in the city of Nikolaev on Wednesday that his country may never join NATO. Originally elected on an anti-war pledge and now promising another wave of conscription, Zelensky was replying to a question about the future of Ukraine's national security. The Ukrainian president explained that he did not know whether Ukraine would be able to join the US-led bloc. We don't know how it will turn out. No one will be able to answer that for sure. Either we will be in NATO or we won't be in NATO. We want to, but the Ukrainian president responded on a question, and well, all of us knew from very beginning that Ukraine will never join NATO, but because of this heavy propaganda in the West, in the Ukraine itself, I guess many people did believe that it's only a matter of time when Ukraine will join NATO. But yet again, that's a force of propaganda. Ukraine never had even slight chance even slight chance to join NATO, to become a part of this alliance, but propaganda did its job, and many Ukrainians probably did think otherwise. Anyway, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, according to statements of official representative of Pentagon, Sabrina Singh, U.S. militaries are lacking now finances to continue support of Ukraine, military aid for Ukraine. And yet again, this is another attempt of a military-industrial complex and corrupt politicians in the U.S. to force lawmakers, especially in the Congress, to pass this draft from Biden, this draft aid package, 405 or 106 billion, in which more than 60 billion is supposed to be allocated for the Kiev regime. And because U.S. military-industrial complex has huge influence on Pentagon, of course they are using Pentagon now to pressure Congress. And this statement highlights exactly that. After all, as I said many times before, this draft from Biden's administration is the last big paycheck for U.S. military-industrial complex and U.S. corrupt politicians from Ukrainian story, and they will use all their influence to make sure that one way or another, 105 or 80 or 60 billion, but will be eventually passed by Congress, U.S. Congress, and then Senate, and U.S. military complex will receive at least several dozen of additional billions. Let's continue. And TASS News Agency, according to report from TASS News Agency, World Bank did approve credit for Kiev regime for $1.2 billion under guarantees of Japan, dear friends. Well, this is also interesting, because if Japanese taxpayers have no issue to pay for this credit, then what you gonna do? But it is obvious that Ukraine will never pay back this credit or any other credit, really. And in this particular case, it's Japanese taxpayers that will pay for this 1.2 billion credit. With interests, by the way. RIA Novosti is reporting. And next topic is, of course, Middle East and the escalation in the Middle East. RIA Novosti did report based about article in Wall Street Journal, according to which Hamas and the Israeli government did reach agreement to prolong ceasefire for additional day, for one more day. But simultaneously, this morning, RIA Novosti also reported that IDF did wrote on their Telegram channel that they are resuming military operations in the Gaza Strip. So it's hard to know, is ceasefire holding for another day or not, and the Israeli forces began their military operation. Probably there is no more ceasefire on the place, because why otherwise IDF will write such a post on the Telegram channel. So escalation will continue between Israel and Palestine. And dear friends, according to Al Jazeera, TASS News Agency did report that according to Al Jazeera, Israeli forces detained 3,390 Palestinians in the West Bank. Since the 7th of October, since the beginning of escalation between Israel and Palestine. I guess once Israel will force Palestinians out of Gaza Strip, that's a first stage of their ground plan, in my understanding. Then they will begin concentrating their attention on the West Bank, and it's only a matter of time when they will try. If Israel will still have this extremist government under Netanyahu, they will try to conduct military operations in the West Bank also and force locals out of region into Jordan or Syria maybe. But eventually, I guess that's a plan that Israeli intelligence services and the Israeli government has. That's a plan to deal with this issue of Palestine. They will force locals out of those regions from Gaza Strip and from West Bank. If world community will allow, of course, if world community will allow this to happen, and well, RT is reporting that Israeli Foreign Ministry announced on a Thursday that they are recalling ambassador from Madrid, from Spain, Rodica Radian Gordon, for consultations after comments made by Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez about the ongoing war between Israel and Palestine. The Spanish ambassador in Tel Aviv was also summoned for a protest. Speaking with the Spanish broadcaster TVE, Sanchez, Prime Minister of Spain, said that he had a serious doubt that Israel was in compliance with the international humanitarian law while waging war on the Palestinian group, given the imagery coming from the enclave and the growing number of children died. And then was a response from Israeli side because of the outrageous remarks by the Spanish Prime Minister, who again repeated baseless claims. I have decided to summon the Israeli ambassador in Spain for consultations in Jerusalem. Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen said on basically stated on his Twitter account, X account. And well, how you gonna comment this? How emboldened Netanyahu and his associates really are, that despite so much damage and despite so much death among Palestinian civilians, they are there to say that claims about civilian deaths and immense number of deaths among children in Palestine is a outrageous remark, according to this Israeli and baseless claim, according to this Israeli foreign minister. I mean, something is definitely wrong with these people and with Netanyahu and his associates. They are psychopaths. They really are psychopaths, man. They are mass murderers, they are terrorists, and they are psychopaths, of course. Undoubtedly, man. I have no words, man. This individual dares to criticize Prime Minister for slight criticism, by the way. Spanish Prime Minister did not come out with some strong statements. He just questioned, situation in actions of Israel and the look Israeli response, man. I don't know, man. Something definitely is wrong with the current leadership of Israel, and something wrong is in this world also, because this Netanyahu and his government is allowed to do what they are doing. I remind you, dear friends, that since the beginning of special military operation, it's almost 2 years past, and unfortunately, as a result of military operations and hostilities between Russian and Ukrainian forces, according to UN, about 15,000 civilians were killed. Some reports say 10,000 civilians were killed in 2 years of immensely intense hostilities between Russian and Ukrainian forces. In 2 years. And just in 1 month, Israeli side killed more civilians. As a result of Israeli military operations, more civilians died in the Gaza Strip. So, I mean, you clearly can have an understanding in which case militaries are trying to minimize casualties among civilians, and in case of Ukrainian conflict, we can clearly see that Russian side does everything possible to minimize casualties among civilians, But in case of actions of Netanyahu's government and IDF, we can clearly say that they just don't care. They just don't care how many civilians will die. It's just too obvious, isn't it? I mean, it's just too obvious. Let's continue. RT is reporting that U.S. general warns lawmakers of funding crisis. Yet again, Pentagon is crying for funds. These thieves, by the way, Pentagon is a bunch of thieves. They are stealing $700 to $800 billion of U.S. taxpayers, and they still are crying that they have not enough money. Can you imagine? $700 to $800 billion, and they still are crying for more money. These thieves, man, these criminals. Let me read, dear friends. So, funding for America's troops will be jeopardized if U.S. lawmakers continue to rally on stopgap funding measures rather than passing a new Pentagon budget. Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff Charles Brown Jr. has claimed. Brown issued his warning in letter to members of U.S. Senate Appropriation Committee on Wednesday, saying the military will face a $5.8 billion shortfall in personal funding if Congress does not pass a full-year spending bill. Yet again, thieves and criminals and mass murderers, by the way. U.S. military leadership is definitely mass murderers and the terrorists, undoubtedly, and Biden's administration is a terrorist regime, for sure, especially, and there can be no questions about it, dear friends. I mean, you may don't like what I'm saying now, but after they did conduct act of international terrorism on the Nord Stream pipelines, from very first second of that attack on pipelines, Biden's administration did become a terrorist regime straight away, without question, without doubt. And these thieves, by the way, in Pentagon, just look at them, man. 700 to 800 billion of US taxpayers are not enough for them. They want some more to be stealed, you know. And one may say, you know what, US has bases there, and that's why this money is not enough. And I mean, who asks you to have a basis like 700 to 800 bases all around the world? Why US has so many bases all around the world? You know, and I don't know when US citizens will begin questioning really their own leadership. Just imagine how much good could be done if Pentagon, for example, will cut on at least half of its spendings, which is 350 to 400 billion extra. In that case, extra dollars that Washington will have to spend on citizens, on infrastructure and on other programs to improve lives of their own citizens. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. These mass murderers are occupying, I don't know, man, half of the world at least with their military bases, and still are, you know, crying for more money. Unbelievable, though. Anyway, let's continue. One day I hope US citizens will wake up and realize that to regain respect worldwide, US needs to become a republic again. Because as a failed empire, US is just destroying its own self from within. Positioning itself as a kind of empire. It's just, you know, and everyone probably outside of US at least does understands this. But anyway, let's continue. Interfax is reporting that, well, US lawmakers, US lawmakers did vote for a law to freeze Iran's 6 billion that was unfreezed previously, to freeze it again. So yet again, I mean, we can clearly see level of degradation of US political system, US political leadership, because 1 week Washington may make decision in one direction, and week after, very same Washington, very same officials may take steps in exactly opposite way. So these people cannot be taken seriously. Why do you did unfroze this 6 billion for Iran if after some time you were planning to froze it again? What is wrong with you? But yet again, man, do you see US lawmakers, congressmen and senators? Vast majority of them probably did not read single book in their lives. They are just the puppets that were put in the place by real rulers, call it a deep state or whatever. They were put in that place, man, of lawmakers, so that they will sign all the papers and they will vote in the way that deep state or real rulers of the US will want to. That's it, really, because, I mean, just look at this, man. How you can take seriously anybody from US political leadership? Anybody. There are some voices of reason, or at least they are acting for time being as a voice of reason. I can name at least several such politicians in the US, but yet again, maybe they are just playing this role. Maybe they are allowed to play this role for time being, because remember dear friends, Tulsi Gabbard, she was at some point she was acting like voice of reason, but recently she did began making statements like I don't know, man, like warmonger. She did become a neocon. At least that's statements. That's what her statements are saying about her. So I guess she was not honest like 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago. And now we are seeing real face of Tulsi Gabbard, isn't it? And saying we can, maybe same will happen with some other politicians that are kind of voice of reason at this point. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what is going on in the US, but something is definitely wrong there, for sure. And it's very unfortunate for entire world, because because fair and the strong US is beneficial for the world. It's beneficial not just for US citizens, but for the world also. I truly believe in that world needs fair and strong US, but not US like today, which is unjust, which is unfair, which is, I don't know, danger, not just for a world, but also for its own citizens. It is what it is. Anyway, let's continue. TASS News Agency is reporting that, according to statement from aide of newly elected president of Brazil, this Milei, not Brazil, sorry, Argentina. This state, Argentina, will not join BRICS on 1st of January. So this is yet another confirmation from Buenos Aires that Argentina will not join BRICS. And okay, good for BRICS, really. I mean, good for BRICS, because I had some doubts about Argentina joining BRICS initially when this topic became relevant several months ago. And I have some doubts about some other countries also that will join BRICS on 1st of January. But if new government of Argentina will refuse now to cooperate with BRICS, that's definitely better decision, better outcome for BRICS. But when it comes to Argentina, I don't know, man. Citizens of Argentina well, they made decision, isn't it? They have to live now with consequences. That's it, really. I mean, I feel sorry that Argentina is undergoing some severe difficulties in economy, and social fabric in Argentina is somewhat fragile, but yet again, it's nobody's fault. They should somehow manage their own country in a better way. And to be honest, I don't think that supporting as a president this very strange individual, Milei, is a way to go. But yet again, who knows, man? Let's see what kind of achievements Argentina will manage to accomplish under leadership of such a president. Anyway, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that OPEC Plus states made a decision to further decrease output of oil on the market, and well, Saudi Arabia will continue to decrease its oil output for 1 billion barrels a day. Russia will decrease oil output from 300,000 barrels a day to 500,000 barrels a day, and other member states of OPEC will also decrease their oil output, so that prices on the market will be favorable for oil producer countries. It's good that OPEC Plus is operating quite effectively, really, to deal with some minor issues that time to time are emerging on energy markets. RT is reporting that influential Russian oil boss takes aim at the finance ministry and also central bank, by the way, I will say. There are some confrontation among Russian elites also, of course, and let me read several sentences here. The head of Russian oil, and when I say confrontation, I mean confrontation of ideas and policies. Nothing in a negative manner, because discussion is always good. So the head of Russian oil major Rosneft, Igor Sechin, has criticized the finance ministry's tax policies. Oh yes, man. Nobody likes to pay taxes, and especially rich people and rich companies. But it is what it is, man. Nobody likes to pay taxes. Anyway, let's continue. The head of Russian oil major Rosneft, Igor Sechin, has criticized the finance ministry's tax policies, which he claims provoked a crisis in the domestic fuel market. He also took aim at the country's central bank for a lack of reliable routes for cross-border payments in various currencies, and for a series of sharp interest rate hikes. The fuel crunch in the domestic market that Sechin believes came about due to mistakes by the finance ministry led to the government imposing temporary gasoline and diesel export restrictions in order to stabilize prices. The company's activities are greatly influenced by constant changes in the industry's taxation system. A decision to reduce the damper provoked a crisis in the domestic fuel market in August-September of this year, the Rosneft CEO wrote in a company statement on Wednesday. Well, Sechin is, as I understand, Sechin is quite close to Putin. They are on friendly terms, maybe even friends. And he is very influential, of course. He's a head of one of the biggest Russian energy companies, Rosneft. But when it comes to, criticizing economical bloc of Russian government, well, I will say to Sechin to, think again before he starts criticizing Nabiullina, let's say, head of central bank or finance ministry, because after all, it's Nabiullina, finance ministry and the Ministry of Economical Development that did manage to build up Russian economy in the way that it will be able to withstand Western pressure. So maybe Sechin is, maybe he forget his place in this world, because maybe he's not happy that ban was exposed on export of oil products because he made less money. Maybe he's not happy because of taxes or because of hike in interest rates. But it's not about his happiness. I mean, who the hell is Sechin, for God's sake, man? Really. These oligarchs, man, they think too much of themselves. I mean, and they are nobody, really. They are just nobody. And this Sechin never did nothing in his life. He is a boss of Rosneft just because he is in good relationships with the powerful people in Russia. That's it. He himself, he is a nobody and will be nobody forever. That's it. That's my comment on this information. He is not happy that he has to pay taxes. Really? Unbelievable, man. That's why, man, I have no trust in these oligarchs, man. They are danger for Russia. They are danger for Russia, man. And I believe they're not supposed to be in Russia, at least. Giant companies, all big oil companies, and Rosneft partially is owned by state, but Rosneft is supposed to be entirely owned by state, like Gazprom. These giants not supposed to be independent in any ways because they are gaining too much influence. And look at the US, by the way. Look at the US, where these giant companies basically are dictating policies now. That's how influential they are. So I'm all for free market, but until companies are reaching certain size, if they are becoming somewhat monopolies, then state should take over those companies, undoubtedly, so that they will have no influence on policies in the country. But in this case, by the way, I think Sechin somewhat, over-exaggerated his influence and his importance, because, as I said, he is nobody, man. And if he was not friend of Putin, I don't think he will manage to rise to such heights. 100% sure about it, and this is true, by the way. It's not just me that sure about this, but this is true. And he is now criticizing Russian economical bloc, who did manage to, create such conditions that Russian economy will withstand Western pressure. Really? Anyway, let's continue, man. As I said, I have no respect for oligarchs, man. I will never have any respect for oligarchs. They are a danger for any country, and Russia is not exception. TASS news agency is reporting, because they have no loyalty to countries, by the way, or societies. These multinational corporations, they have no loyalty to countries and societies. And they are danger. Anyway, let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that Bloomberg made a, publication about Russian oligarchs, rich Russians, not just rich Russians, but ultra-rich Russians. And according to Bloomberg, richest people in Russia become even richer this year, for $38.6 billion. So well, that's a forever story, isn't it? Rich is becoming more richer and poor is becoming more poor. But yet again, in this case, by the way, we are talking about yet again oligarchs, mainly oligarchs that are danger for Russia, in my understanding. And if I was Russian president, I will make sure that there was no oligarchs in Russia, and I will check every single this oligarch, entire their lives, and if ever they were involved in anything, they will end up in jail forever. And I'm quite sure if proper investigation is conducted around those oligarchs, 100% they can be fined something to jail all of them forever. Those people cannot be trusted, man. They are enemies of the state. They are enemies of the society, 100%. And let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that Japanese moon lander, Japanese spacecraft will land on the moon on 20th of January. On 20th of January, which is a great news for scientific community, and also achievement for entire humanity. And well, I can only congratulate Japanese specialists and wish them successful landing on the moon. Recently we did see quite significant intensification of this moon programs all around the world, and well, I guess we are not that far away from point when there will be some basis, human basis on the moon, permanent human basis on the moon. And this is it for now. I apologize, dear friends, that I become a little emotional when I was talking about those oligarchs. As I said, I have no respect for oligarchs. They are danger everywhere, for every country and every society, because they have no loyalty to the people. But anyway, it is what it is. Quite short update in comparison to some other ones that are like 1.5 hour long. Hopefully you will find this video interesting, and if so, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, and by subscribing to my Patreon page. And well, if you find this video interesting, please not forget to click that like button and leave some commentary about any topic you like. Really, it's still too long, man. It's still too long because I just can feel it, you know. I'm like a zombie after 50 minutes of this constant talk about news. So you are just, you know, you are getting tired a little bit. But anyway, this is it for now. Have a great day and take care.